Wong had $23 to spend on 6 notebooks. After buying them, she had $11. How much did each notebook cost? You have to do two things here. You need to set up the equation, and then you need to solve it so that you'll know how much each notebook costs. Now, the way to set up this equation is 23 is where we're starting. So 23. Now, she's going to spend money, right? So, what operation represents spending money? Right, isn't she going to be taking away from that $23? And what's she spending it on?
6 notebooks.
6 notebooks. Now, since we don't know the price of a notebook yet, we have to represent with a letter N, but we know she's buying 6 of them. So whatever the price gets multiplied by 6. And then after she's made her transaction, she has $11 left. So that's the equation. Now to figure out how much each notebook costs, you need to solve for N. And how do you do that? Okay, so 23 minus 23 cancels because it's 0, leaving just -6N on the left and -12 on the right. And now to solve for N, what do you do to both sides? By -6. And so N equals 2. Okay? Now let's make sure that makes sense. That's $2 per notebook. 6 notebooks will cost how much? 12. So if you walked in the store with 23 bucks and you spent $12 on those 6 notebooks, how much would you walk out of the store with? $11. Okay, I want you to take about 1 minute and try 2 and 3 by yourself. Number 2, you had $20 to spend on 7 avocados. After buying them, you have 6. So what does that equation look like?
20 minus 7 equals 6. 20 minus 7 equals 6.
Okay, then what would you do?
Subtract 20 on both sides.
Subtract 20.
Divide by -7 and you get 2.
Right, so what does that 2 represent?
How much avocado? Yeah.
$2 per avocado. So let's make sure that makes sense. If you buy 7 of them, how much money are the avocados? 14. If you hand the cashier a $20 bill, he's going to hand you back 6. Okay, number 3. Go. Number 3, you have $25 to spend on 7 pencils. After buying them, you have 4. How much did each pencil cost? Okay, what does this equation look like?
7p equals 4.
Okay, and then we need to solve it. How do we solve it?
Minus 25 on both sides.
Right,
-7 equals -21.
right. -7p equals -21.
Divide by -7 on both sides equals 3.
Right. All right. Shh. Number 4 is a little bit different, so you need to pay attention. Shauna rented a bike from Arjun's Bikes. It costs $14 plus $3 per hour. If Shauna paid $32, then she rented a bike for how many hours? Okay? I'm going to let y'all do some in a minute. 14 plus $3 per hour equals 32. Okay, so how would you solve for H?
Minus 14.
3H equals 18, and then you do what?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3 on both sides.
You get 6.
H equals 6. Number 5, the sum of 3 consecutive odd integers is 69. They want to know what the smallest of these numbers is. Okay, this is probably the type of problem that gives y'all the most issues. 3 consecutive odd numbers. What's the very first odd number? 1. What's the next odd number that you know? And then the next? 5. Shh. So, I'm going to represent the number 1 with the letter X. Okay, so keep in mind, anytime I write an X, it really represents 1. How would you represent 3? X plus 2. Because think about it. If x is a 1, isn't this basically a 1 plus 2, which is 3? So how would you represent 5?
X plus 4.
X plus 4, because 1 plus 4 would give you 5. Now, they want you to sum those, which means add them up, and the sum will be 69. So now what can we do on the left?
Add on the X.
Okay, and they combine to be 2 plus 4, 6. And now what do we do on both sides? Right, and you get 3x equals, and now to solve for x, you divide by 3 on both sides, so x equals 21. Now remember, that's just regular x. So regular x is 21. That makes x plus 2, 23, and x plus 4, 25. Do those three numbers really add up to 69? What is the smallest of the three? 21. So that's the answer they were looking for. Okay, number 6. For a field trip, 25 students rode in cars and the rest filled 8 buses. How many students were in each bus if 321 students were on the trip? Okay, for this equation, you have to start out with your 25 kids that are on the bus plus 8b, or x would be fine, for 8 buses. And then it totals up to 321 kids going on the field trip. Now keep in mind, that 321 consists of kids on the bus and kids in cars. So to solve for kids on the bus, what do we do first? Subtract 25 on both sides. And why exactly are you subtracting 25? What does that let you know?
The rest of the kids are on the bus.
Right. Once you take 25 away from this, it'll let you know exactly how many kids are getting on buses. How many kids are getting on buses?
296.
And then you can divide it 8 ways because there's 8 different buses they can get on, letting you know how many get on each bus. 37. Well, in this one there was. Okay, now I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I want you to try the next page all by yourself. You have 5 minutes. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers is 42. So if you just think of any random even, like say I think of 6, 8, 10, aren't those consecutive even numbers? Okay, but those are not 3 numbers that add to 42, but they can help me understand how to build my equation. If I represent 6 with an x, how would you get 8?
X plus 2.
And how would you get 10? Right. Okay, so even though those are not the correct numbers, because they don't add up to 42, they kind of help us know how to build the equation. And we know that when you take the sum of those, which means add them up, you get 42. What do they combine to on the left side of the equation?
3x.
And now to solve for x, so 3x equals 36, and then we divide by 3, so x equals 12. Now remember, that's just regular x. So if regular x equals 12, if you add 2 to that, you get 14. If you add 4 to the regular x, you get 16. Do those 3 numbers add up to 42? And which one's the smallest? 12. Okay, number 8. Emily's Bikes rents bikes for $16 plus $4 per hour. What does that equation look like?
16 plus 4h equals 36.
Right, and now to solve for how many hours she rode it, what would we do first? So 4h equals 20, and now we... Right. Okay, number 9. You had $21 to spend on 3 pens. After buying them, you had 12. So what does that look like?
21 minus 3p equals 12.
Right. Now to solve for p, we first do what?
Subtract by 41 on each.
Right. Let me make a quick statement. So many kids mess up here. Okay, I see this mistake made all the time. They want to add 21, and let me tell you why. They're looking at that. Huh? Okay, well, I'm going to talk about it again. Okay, look, they see this sign and automatically think, oh, I need to add. But this sign belongs to the 3, correct? The 21 is already positive, so to get rid of it, we subtract it. Okay, that way it'll cancel on that side, and then we subtract it over here. Now you have negative 3p equals And now you divide by -3, so your final answer is 3.
Miss Jenny, I went back through it and I looked at my thing. I subtracted 21, but I didn't do -3. I just did plus.
Oh, okay. All right, number 10. 166 students went on a field trip. 3 buses were filled and 22 students traveled in cars. How many students were on each bus? What does the equation look like?
166 equals 3b plus 22.
Correct. Now, would it have been okay if you had written 3b plus 22 equals 166? Yes. It's fine either way. Now to solve for b, what do we do first? Okay, so 144 equals 3, and now we have to divide by 3 because that's how many buses are there. 48. Okay, number 11. Rob rented a bike from Means Bikes. It cost $11 plus $8 per hour. If he paid $51, then he rented the bike for how many hours? Okay, what's the equation look like? I need to solve it, so what do I do first? Subtract the 11 so that it'll cancel over here, and now 8h equals, and now I need to write, so h equals 5. Okay, the last one, number 12. The sum of 3 consecutive integers is 42. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Guys, if you know that 3 consecutive even integers is like 2, 4, 6, or 3 consecutive odd is 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3. Just 3 in a row. So, if those are my made-up numbers, even though they're obviously not the right numbers because they don't add up to 42, they can still help us create the equation. If you use 1 as x, how would you get 2? And how would you get 3?
X plus 2.
Right? And if you take the sum of those, which means add them up, it'll be 42. What does it become on the left?
3x plus 5.
And now we subtract 3 and get 3x equals 39, and now we divide by 3, and so x equals
13.
Okay, so if x is 13, that means the next number would be, and the next number would be, do those 3 numbers really add up to 42?
Yeah.
And what's the smallest one?
13.
13. Okay,